Thanks so much. My name's Vicki Oleary. I'm from an organisation called Clear Minded for Life. We're dedicated meditators. We're also very versed in neuroscience and the way our brain works. Stay with me. And what we do is we bring it into your classrooms, takes the pressure off you as the teacher, lets you have 15 minutes to just be present and mindful in that moment, changes your classroom, and all the evidence states that this makes a long-lasting impact. So it's only 6 times, 6 weeks that we're there, 6 15-minute sessions. So if you're a principal or a teacher, or whatever your role is in your school, this is about you. So that's why I'm here, from my passion of why I'm here. Why you're here is because you've signed up for a Children in Trauma seminar or presentation. So we're going to touch on that in a big way today, but most of it is about solutions rather than problems, because we're in a sped up world where we want to move to the solution. We don't want to labour through all the issues anymore. So I just want you to be present for as much of this presentation as you can. That means hold your attention, hold your space, hold yourself in a state of awareness, because this is what we're advocating for our children. It's what we're advocating for all of us, is to actually close down the busyness and to be aware of what's going on. So take another long breath. I'll bring my presentation up. Let's be where we're at. Clear Minded for Life. I know you've come for a Children in Trauma workshop, and this goes hand in hand with that. So what we're presenting to you today is information about trauma and solutions that you can take away into your classrooms, into your lives, that actually work. So it's all based on scientific evidence and years and years and years and years of practice. So that's Clear Minded for Life. It's an organisation that's not for profit that we've been running for a few years in the schools in New South Wales, and we just bring ourselves to you to listen and enjoy the experience today. So I guess that pretty much covers why we're presenting, and you've already had a moment to think about why you are here. I'll move on. So it's always nice to have a bit of an outline of what a presenter's going to go through, so you can kind of get a feel of what's happening for the next hour and a half. Of course, the first thing we're going to talk about is trauma. So let's just get straight into that in a moment. After that, I'm going to go through with you some very practical experiences, whether you've heard about, done, love, don't like, whatever, meditation, mindfulness, or conscious breathing. All the scientific evidence states that this works, especially for trauma. So that's where we're going to go to. We're going to talk about how that changes the brain. It's all very easy, so if you're not someone who likes science, I make it very simple, because I'm not a scientist. I'm just somebody who understands it from a perspective for children and adults. We'll of course go into what we can do for ourselves, so that's the practical application, and you're going to have experiences today, because it's no point in me standing here telling you about it, it's about you loving it. In a state of trauma, the developing brain oversensitised to stress. So what that means is you've got that constant fight or flight reflex working, you're on high alert, so you're just like buzzing like that. So that means clap your fingers and someone jumps, or something doesn't go wrong in that classroom or in your day or whatever it is, and you're agitated, you're upset, you're stressed. Now there's scales and ranges to that, but that's what's happening, and we live in a pretty stressed environment and world at the moment, so you add that on top of it, and we're all kind of buzzing. We're like that all the time. So this is this stress having fight or flight reflex on. Lots of chemicals running in the body heart rate's going up, it's all happening. And I'm sure you've seen evidence of this. Compromising the ability to learn, to read, to speak, and especially emotional stability. So this is all the effects of trauma. Get it, yeah? Longer term, it has even more effects on us in our physiological body makeup. We get sick, we get unwell, we turn to addictions, to self-medicate, however it wants to play out. But you can just see in a simple slide, this is trauma. But remember, broad and non-specific. So that means we don't actually know who has and who hasn't. It is like a plant that we haven't watered very well. My beautiful picture there. With care, it can change itself. The brain, and there's so much science running around at the moment on neurogenesis, neuroplasticity. If they're big words you haven't heard of before, it just basically means that we can change our brain and we can make it grow. We can make it grow new pathways, we can make it grow new information. That is healing in itself. So just like fixing that beautiful plant. And the other really important factor is it's never too late. Never too late or too early. So it doesn't matter if you're in primary school or you're in high school or you're in old age care, it's never too late or too early to rewire the brain. And I'm not talking about this from my personal life, this is actually, it's all scientific. So this is actually factual, you can look it up anytime you want. Right. What does this have to do with meditation? Meditation, mindfulness, conscious breathing, I don't mind what term you want to use, it's just the beginning. So what I want to do now, just like before when I said sit and listen to that triangle, we're just going to take a moment and we're just going to do some breathing, and just go with me on this because it's actually really beautiful whether you are into it or not, okay? So just sit. Now, I do a lot of work with children, so I'm actually going to work with you as if you are my class. You know, I have whole classes of children doing this, so rub your hands together. Just go with this. This is fun. Take one hand and put it on your chest, and one onto your stomach. Now, for some of you, you might like to close your eyes, but for some of you, that's really unsafe and uncomfortable. So if I'm in a class with students, I never force them to close their eyes, I just recommend close your eyes, it helps you tune into your breath. Or look gently down at the spot in front of you, bringing your awareness onto the inside of you. Now breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. Feel your breath in your body. Concentrate. So feeling your chest rise and fall, your stomach move in and out. Just draw all of your attention onto your breathing right now. Breathing in, breathing out. Slow breathing. Connect with your body and your breath. Breathe out. You might like to breathe out with a little sigh. It's been a busy morning already. Let's go. Nice. So it's really simple. And this is what it's about. This is simple. It's simple for you, simple for children. Just a really short clip that I want to show you. Now I know there's a lot of high school teachers here, but when you look at this, just remember that we're all children in some state, young or old, and so it's about just knowing the impact of this in school environments.
These 10 and 11-year-olds are focusing on their breathing and learning to let go of any destructive thoughts.
Last year we decided to trial it across 3 classes in the school. We had such success with it, and it had an impact on behaviour, concentration, learning. So we decided that this year we were going to roll it out to every class, ranging from our nursery children to our year 6s, and they all do half an hour fortnightly.
How does it make you feel inside?
Happy.
My passion is to get this on the national curriculum because I've been working in schools now for over 10 years. We're creatures of habit. And so we can take up a good habit like this, then we can change the way we behave.
And this method aims to teach children how to manage their own behaviour and problems instead of relying on others to do it for them. Nikki Mitchell, BBC South Today.
I did say that I'd explain a little bit about our brain and what's going on, and this is the key part about how we link trauma and mindfulness or meditation together. So I'm going to again make this really simple for you. I'm going to teach you this as I would do in one of my children's meditation classes. So if you're a scientist and you absolutely know all of this already, I apologise for anything that may feel a little bit like it's oversimplified. However, this is about making it easy to understand for all of us because it's going on up here all the time. All right? So, neuroplasticity and the myelin. Neuroplasticity is the brain's ability to change its thought processes. So what I would say is get your hands up like this. It's like all of the neurons in your brain. So at the moment you're going, why on earth have I got my fingers going like that? This is pretty uncomfortable. What's this woman on about? Oh, I haven't had enough to eat. I can't wait for the toilet break. Whatever's going on. Brain's running with all these things and maybe you're thinking about tomorrow already. Okay, now stop. What we do with neuroplasticity is we elect to have a thought and we build a pathway to that in the brain. So as I'd explain it to children, it's like they're road maps. And what you want to do is you want to make a 5-lane highway going here to something that you want to think about. So in your brain, when you do that, it makes something called a myelin. So it's like a hose pipe. And this myelin makes the message run faster. Okay, it's like a hose pipe in your brain. Now this sort of thing is used by heaps and heaps of athletes, professional dancers, professional musicians. It's used in so many places because it works. So you're sending a message through the brain really quickly, reinforcing it with conduit so that it gets to the place that you want it to go. So this is how we teach the children. Science tells us meditation works, but why does it work? What you've just experienced, meditation, mindfulness, conscious breathing, they all work on slowing the heart rate, which affects your parasympathetic nervous system. So that's that rushing energy that runs up and down your body from thought processes and then pushes it down into your body. So your stomach ties up in knots or your heart goes really fast if you've got that anxiety feeling. Now you think about, when we did that breath first, one hand on your chest, one on your tummy, if you're somebody who gets that sick feeling in your stomach, and no doubt most of us have this when we've got anxious, stressed feeling or worry, ties up in knots, you're telling that part of your body it's all right to be calm right now. Check in with yourself. How do you feel right now? If you've got that running on the inside, with the other hand on your chest, what you're doing there is that's for those people with anxiety. Catching my breath up in my chest all the time and I don't breathe properly. Check in right now. Are you doing a long, slow breath, or is your breath really shallow and caught up in your chest? It's so common to get like that when we rush around. So already we're starting to slow the heart rate, bring our parasympathetic nervous system into a state of calm. Reducing stress, managing anxiety, lowering blood pressure and heart rate. Now this is science, I'm not making it up. This is all, you can Google it, anything you come up with on meditation, mindfulness, they're doing brain imaging studies, they're hooking people up all the time to blood monitors to find out what this actually does. The beautiful thing though, and this is where it all comes in with this trauma workshop today, it brings more compassion and empathy through this practice of loving kindness. So what we start to get is change. And not just change in the individual, but changing environments, changing schools, changing whole cultures. It also has the ability to spark brain growth because your brain, if it's on overload all the time or in that stressed mode, can't learn, nothing new's getting in. So when you calm it down, it can hear, it can learn. Back to that beautiful amygdala scenario I showed you. And this is another great thing to know, is that ultimately changing gene expression. So what does that mean? That actually means that if you have a predisposed genetic trait or disorder or way of being, it's actually starting to show that we can change this. So there's a great book called The Brain That Changes Itself, Norman Doidge. I've got some references for you to have later. Fantastic, just shows this can really happen, and it is happening more and more. So don't ignore the fact that this is actually big news. Like, this is really big stuff. So you come in here and go, children in trauma, how are we going to get past this? Well, this is actually all the ways that you're getting past this. So what is happening in your mind? meditation allows us to move from this busy monkey mind state. I'm sure, has everyone heard that term, monkey mind? Yeah, no, never heard it? Okay. Monkey mind is, just think about the monkey. He's just jumping around all the time. It's constantly on. It's just like rushing. So, can I draw on this board? No. Okay, that's all right. Sorry. It's like all these pins in here. So, I'll just do it with my hand. So just imagine this is your mind, okay? It's running like this, okay? It's running really fast. And it continues to do that morning, noon and night. If you start and do even just 30 seconds of breathing, conscious breathing, you're putting it into a pause. So just imagine right now this is a pause. So just do this with your hands. I'm putting my brain into a state of pause. Now maybe for you, it's a tiny pause, and that's all right. Or maybe you've practiced mindfulness before and it's actually quite a long pause. I don't mind how it works. But what you're doing is you're putting it into a pause, and when it's in that paused state from its busy mind, that's where great new thought can come through, new learning can come through, inspiration can come through, changing the way your brain thinks. Again, giving us more time between thoughts. What does that mean for somebody in trauma? Less reaction, less frustration. Take a breath, pause. Now I know you hear that take a breath thing all the time, but actually this is what it's about. The only thing is that we haven't really taught anyone how to do it. So we're giving us more opportunity to choose the thoughts and the actions we take. So you just go busy mind, or heightened activity, or full of sugars, or whatever's running in my brain and body at that time. Take a breath, take 3 breaths, put your hands here, put your hands here. It doesn't matter how you want to do it. Just do it, stop, breathe, be aware of what's being thought about, and then move to the next thing. This is how it is in everyone's brain. The effect of 7,000 people in meditation in a city in the US reduced the crime and increased the happiness. You can look up the Maharishi effect, but what the point of that is as a collective right then, we just did the same thing. As a group in this space, we just breathed in that beautiful loving kindness in a minute, and then let it be the room, and then let it translate into your environment. So imagine what starts to happen if you do this in your car before you get out and go to work, in your staff room, just a small group of you. Why don't we just do a mindful minute before we hit the day? Just imagine how easy that is to start translating into a different environment. One of my favourite, actually part of why I even got into this, is I watched a DVD called Room to Breathe. Highly recommend that you look at it. It's about a school in San Francisco, or actually in the US, where high school and the children were abusive, violent, throwing chairs and tables, on devices. No one could handle these classes. This young lady comes in and starts to do some mindfulness with them. And the transition that went on is actually miraculous. So she continues to run programs in schools in the US, similar to what we do here, but it's just about bringing more and more awareness about the value of this, and that, as I said before, it's irrespective of whether you're a child in trauma or you're just a person. It's irrespective. It's for everybody. There are a lot of studies, I've just pulled a few, but another one from the University of California, the fact that it leads to reduced misbehaviour, less aggression. These are the things that we want. This is tick, tick, tick. This is what I want in my school, this is what I want in my life, this is what I want in my community. Then I go into brain imaging studies. So long term, now it does take some practice, so let's just not ignore, but you can't become a musician if you only pick the instrument up once. You can't do anything if you just do it once. That's the way our brains are wired. So a little bit of practice with this goes a long way. So long-term mindfulness training, thickening regions of the brain relating to attention, so ability to think and learn, and sensory processing, so picking up things from the environment. But they're just a few. There's heaps and heaps of studies out there. As I just said, this is for all children. So our objective, which is what you've experienced here, is to use your breathing to bring your body and your brain into a state of calm. It is as simple as that. Now, if you sit there and you go, yeah, I've tried that, it didn't work, or how can I ever work that with my class? Just sit in the car and do it. It doesn't have to be a big thing. The big other part about it is that it's empowering because it lets us, remember I was showing you that pause? It's empowering because at that moment you go, now I can think what I want to think. I get to choose my thoughts. I get to choose my reality. I get to choose what's going on. I'm not in this monkey reaction state all the time. So this is a big, big thing, empowerment. We've done breathing consciously. One that I will do with you now is this practicing mindfulness in terms of just being present with sounds. Maria did that beautiful meditation for us on loving kindness, and one that I apply very simply to classes is to think about one thing that makes you smile. So we may do that today as well, but let's just start with this really simple technique. So close your eyes once again, or if you're not comfortable, look at that spot in front of you. Just go with this. This is about all of us. So right now, I just want you to listen. It's called mindful listening. Listen to all the sounds you can hear around you. There wasn't a lot of sound in this room being in a contained space, which is why I moved you into that feeling the space around you, feeling the ground underneath you. But with children in a classroom, it's a really noisy place. You're going to hear everything next door to the stuff going on outside, to the teacher having that lesson. So it's noisy, and when you get them to stop and just listen, it's amazing. It's amazing, and it takes such a short time. What are the responses of children? Usually distraction. So I have no illusions about this. This is not kind of some really easy gig and everyone goes, woohoo, let's do this. However, they also do that. So they start off and they get distracted. So adults are really great. I do a lot of meditation classes with adults, and they look like they're doing what you ask them to do. So you all sit very still, but your brains are still going. Children, on the other hand, they show you what's happening. They're looking at that person over there, they're flipping on their phone, they're picking their nose, they're scratching their scabs. It doesn't matter. They're doing all that lovely stuff that kids do to show you that they're not concentrating. So it's really obvious, which makes it challenging because they're showing you. However, it doesn't take very long for them to sense that state of calm. So first one up, let's go for that. Get it out of the way. It is distraction. Very soon after, as you've experienced today, clarity, focus, feeling rewarded, feeling peaceful, gracious and loving, empowered. I have so many kids come up and say, you know that thing? I did that and it helped me get to sleep. I have that from kinder kids to year 6 to high school. It happens all the time. They tell me, and they like different techniques. That's why we do a range of them. That's why I've showed you a range of them, because you might not like that, you might like that, you might like a shrug breath. It doesn't matter. It's all doing. Now this one, I really like this slide because it's all very great to say, let's do it, and let's have a great experience while we're in here. But the truth of the matter, meditation is boring. Very, very common statement. I don't like it, it's boring. I can't stop thinking, and so many adults say this one to me. It's, you know, oh, it's really lovely, but I just can't get my brain to stop. It's always going, it's always going. So that's all right. That's really, really normal. Our brains are designed to think, they're designed to move, they're designed to take in interruptions, they're designed to do that all the time. And another one I hear quite often, I did it a while ago and I got out of the habit. So it's a bit like exercise, you know it's good for you, but you know, it's easier just to slop on the couch. So how do we keep ourselves and our students motivated? Again, let's acknowledge it can be boring and it's hard and we're easily distracted. So let's put our hands up and go, yep, I've been there, 20 years in practice and probably only consistently in the last 5. So I'm going to honour that. With children and with you today, this is why we explain the brain, why I showed you what's happening with the amygdala, why I talked to you about myelin sheath, why we link it to what's going on up here, is because then you start to feel and know what's happening. It's not some esoteric thing standing out there and going, it's really good for you, just do that. It's actually cognizant. You understand it. Empowering them to know that the way they think changes their reality, changes their brain. And, of course, that it makes one feel happier. So, it's simple stuff. Has everyone seen a picture of this neuron firing? Yeah? Seen a picture of that before? It's pretty common at the moment that we're seeing this sort of imagery. It's what's going on up in our brain. Synapses firing, information flowing quickly, that kind of thing. So, how do we rewire our brain? Now, come right into why you arrived today. Just go back to, what was that question? Why did I come here today?
One man.
Great. So, you decide what you think and what you want. So right now, just go with that thought. We call it focusing it into the front part of our brain. So what I want you to do is I want you to think about one thing that makes you smile. Anything at all. Close your eyes and focus it into the front part of your brain. We all can think of something that makes us smile, even the most jaded of people. Open your eyes. Nice, hey? So, you're rebuilding the connections among your neural pathways, forming a rewiring of your brain, so you're making a message run into that place. It's just simple things. You're directing the formation of them by the choice of the thought that you just held, what you wish to think and focus on. Now come on, let's apply this to our students. Let's apply this, let's apply this. It starts here and it goes there. Releasing connections to old habits, old patterns and old pathways. It actually does. So if you think about that network of fibres running in your brain, once you start to continually focus on something you want or something you like to think about, these old patterns start to fall away. Your environment changes around you. So that's why I'm saying to you, think again about that Archie effect. Think of 7,000 people changing an environment. Think about your staff room, sitting with a group of you and going, let's just do a mindful minute. These are the ways our environment changes, but it's all going on in your brain. I said at the beginning, ultimately affecting genetic makeup. Predisposition to environment and culture and people around us is our genetic makeup, and we do that on purpose because it models behaviour and it allows each class to be exposed to it and each child to be exposed to it, as I said, irrespective of who they are. So that's important, and we're only there 6 to 8 weeks, and then we give you as much tools as you can so that you can start to weave it in to your class, whatever works for you. You don't have to take it all, just take the bit you go, oh yeah, that really works for me, I want to apply that in there. So, and we're only in classes 15 minutes, it's not very long, as I said, once a week. So that's on Clear Minded for Life, and of course we're very passionate about it. What's another thing you can do? I'm sure that today you've had a few experiences of beautiful meditation, mindfulness, but just 3 deep breaths. Really, it's just all it takes, 3 deep breaths. Just remember that, you know, if it's all getting too much and you're like, oh, I've got to go back to school tomorrow, you do that 3 deep breaths and you just get yourself into that. If it's nice for you, it's going to be nice for them, because then you're in that state of mind and you're feeling peaceful and calm. So, you know, you want to have a great day as well. few deep breaths or a shrug breath. I like this one. We bring our shoulders up and we breathe out and go. Let's just do one. This is about tomorrow. You're going back to school tomorrow, right? Breathe in, shoulders up. Breathe out and go. And you know what I get my kids to say in their mind? Everything is all right. How does it fit in your school environment? So with the Be Minded for Life, as I said, minimal impact, but this New South Wales Wellbeing Framework, there's certainly a lot of talk in there about wellbeing, mindfulness, meditation, various things like that. So everyone has more information on it, but look it up or get your principal too, because we want to build a momentum on this. As I said, we've got lots of other things running on for Be Minded for Life. So thanks so much, because if you can do it, then that just has that beautiful ripple-on effect around you, and we've certainly held you in a great state of mind by having you in our room today.